Hey everybody, I'm Jackson.
And I'm Lauren.
And this is Who It At?
The Masked Singer Podcast.
Hey everybody.
Let's just start over.
No, we're going. Lauren and I just stared at each other like, who's gonna do this? Who's gonna go? As if we haven't ever podcasted before. Golly. Well, welcome everyone. That's us. Hopefully this isn't your first show listening to us, because otherwise you might think we're unlistenable. But I am Jackson.
I'm Lauren.
And this is Who It At?
The Masked Singer Podcast.
And we are here to talk all things Masked Singer tonight.
Specifically Group C again.
This Group C playoffs is what we just most recently watched. We have all of our guesses, our predictions, our comments on their performances. However, before we get into that, we have something we need to address as a podcast, as two human beings talking to other fellow human beings.
Yeah, so you might remember last week we talked about a negative review we got that said that we are not the real deal, not the official Masked Singer podcast, which is technically true. We are not the official Masked Singer podcast.
That is absolutely true.
You know.
However, we don't advertise ourselves to be the official Masked Singer podcast. You know.
But you know what? We just wanted to say the person who wrote that review actually went back and changed their review.
Yeah.
And gave us a positive review and was basically like, I wrote this without listening to the show, and I actually like it. So we appreciate you changing your review. It does help us.
Props to you for that. That was a big move that you made to sort of go back. And we didn't intend, but we got a couple other reviews of people being like, well, they might not be the official Masked Singer podcast, but I love them anyways.
No, and we really appreciate you. I just want to shout out real quick.
We appreciate all of you.
Hip Bones and Microphones.
I love that.
Garrett Gleason and LJ Cool, who is definitely my mom.
Yes. So shout out to
Mom.
Lauren's mom. And who, I guess we don't really need to say the person who initially gave us a bad review, gave us a good review, whatever. But we do really appreciate that.
It.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
We do really,
helps us move up the charts. Helps us show up on the first page when you look up the Masked Singer.
However,
that's the big thing.
This is what I will say, Lauren. We definitely need to fabricate an enemy of the pod so that we can get people to give us good reviews.
That's true. That actually was kind of helpful.
Yeah. So if you would like to create an enemy for the pod, you listening at home, and just make a review being like, man, that reviewer had no idea what they were talking about. This show is great. Maybe do it. maybe just do that. Or you could just give us 5 stars because you like us.
We would appreciate
that as well. However, it's always nice to have an incentive, I guess. Yeah. You might get your username and your review read on this show.
True.
We would do that.
If you want to put any of your guesses in the reviews,
any
of that kind of stuff,
totally.
Yeah, we'd love to read that on the show.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, now that we're done with that, I guess a few housekeeping things. We have another podcast, our main podcast, the Green Light Podcast. We also release once a week every Friday. Yeah. So listen to that. We read unproduced
plays and screenplays and interview the writers.
I'm going to bed. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, unproduced plays, screenplays, interview the writers. We also talk about some movies and TV shows that we've recently watched.
Yeah.
Besides
The Masked Singer, because we have a whole podcast dedicated to that
which is
already.
Why we did that. Also, find us on YouTube.
JNL
Closet Pods. It has both of our podcasts on there. We've been saying it for a while that we're gonna do actual video content, but right now all that we have is just recordings of our podcast. So if you for some reason you want to just listen to us on there, go for that too.
We also do have a Patreon. The content on there is primarily for our other show. However,
right now it's entirely for our other show.
Well, it isn't. You're right. It is entirely for our other show. But we do have some bonus content for you guys. For Who Is That in the works.
Yeah, and our bonus content on there is super fun for the Green Light, so do that. Yeah. Okay, we're done. All right. We're done. Okay. Let's talk about what is now I'm excited to talk about this, our Nick Cannon outfit rating of the week.
All right. So this was an interesting one. I wrote it down. So he came out in a pink cheetah print jacket with it looked red, but I guess it was pink and black sparkly cape.
I think it was a deep pink.
Silver and black kind of triangular looking mask.
Yeah.
He obviously took the cape and the mask off pretty shortly, but he did still have the cheetah print stuff. I didn't see his shoes. Did you notice his shoes?
They were bright, I assume.
Probably.
And sparkly.
That sounds right.
That's
sounds like
my
him.
guess.
Yeah, this was... Oh, and he also had a white or like a cream color turtleneck on under the cheetah print jacket.
Yeah. What'd you think of this, Lauren?
I thought it was really interesting.
Interesting?
Yeah, I don't know. The turtleneck under the suit jacket kind of threw me off a little bit.
Did it? Okay.
I will admit.
Okay.
Also, the pink cheetah print... Because I don't know, I do usually like the subtler things. It's nice to have something bright like this once in a while.
Sure.
But I kind of feel like maybe go loud print or super bright color. Maybe not both.
What's your rating, Lauren?
My rating is a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, that's still more solid than you were making it sound.
Well, I didn't hate it. It's just not my favorite outfit.
Lauren, I give this a 10 out of 10.
I thought it was interesting. I know you did. I saw you take notes.
Listen, this is what I want.
This is what I've been waiting for.
Okay, all right. May I speak? May I have autonomy, please?
You may.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for. I want Nick Cannon for his crazy outfits. I don't want just a nice suit. We know he can pull that off. We know it. Everyone knows it. Most people can. That's why it's a staple in many people's outfits.
Yeah, but I'm saying what I like with the suit is when, he's had like a cheetah print suit, but it's black and then the cheetah print is subtle. And I really like bright colored suits, but I don't know if I like bright colored also print suits.
Okay. Well, I disagree. This was a 10 out of 10 for me.
Also, I thought the fit was a little weird on the jacket.
Just like the way it fit him, you mean?
Yeah,
okay.
It just didn't quite look like as sleek as normal.
I thought you were just observing it overall, like this fit was weird.
No.
Like,
I meant literally how the jacket fit.
How it fit, as opposed to the term for an outfit. Fit,
yeah,
which I love.
Well,
this fit was fire.
Of the jacket is
the fit was
correct.
Fire, Lauren, in the other context of the word. But yeah, I loved it. Good job, Nick Cannon.
I respect your decision.
This is what I want from you, Nick Cannon. Keep doing this. I will love you. Lauren will be fine with it.
Yeah.
And what else could you want?
Also, kind of a fun thing. We had an extra masked guest.
We did.
Who I just assumed was going to be Joel McHale, but then it wasn't.
It very easily could have been Joel McHale again.
Yeah. But yeah, it was Mr. TV, who made me think of George Lopez in Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Interesting. Okay. Yep. I see that.
But... Oh, you're taking a picture of me?
No, stop. Keep going.
Okay. We're both wearing our Don't Talk to Me hoodies, by the way.
Yes,
so that's fun. But yeah, Mr. TV came out, and as soon as he started singing, we were like, oh, it's Wayne Brady, because he won the Masked Singer, and now he's coming back as a judge.
Yeah.
And all of the judges, after seeing him for a whole season and guessing Jamie Foxx and getting it wrong, still said Jamie Foxx.
Said, is this Jamie Foxx? You think it's Jamie Foxx? I think it's Jamie Foxx. Sounds like Jamie. Yeah. Which, to be fair...
He does kind of sound like Jamie Foxx. I just feel like
if TV,
context clues, you know?
Sure. If Mr. TV would have unmasked himself and it would have been Jamie Foxx, I would not have been surprised.
Right. That's true.
Yes, no, it is hilarious after an entire season of guessing Jamie Foxx and it actually being Wayne Brady. It happened again.
Yeah,
history
I said,
repeats itself, folks.
Like Wayne Brady was like, how many times have I sung for you?
Yeah.
For you to still mistake me as Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, no, I know. But let's talk about how good his voice is. God.
Oh, amazing.
He's incredible.
Miss him.
He is
every day.
he is an incredible vocalist,
even
incredible
though Chris
performer.
Was robbed.
Yeah. It's tough.
But they're both incredible performers.
Bring Chris Daughtry back as a guest host.
I want to see him as a judge.
I would love to see him.
I love Chris Daughtry.
That would be great. Okay, let's one more overarching thing before we sort of jump into it. What do you think of the genie thing? That was sort of the gimmick this week.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. I also really liked is Will Smith gonna pop out of that joke?
That was a pretty good joke.
I also thought it was funny that it's definitely a COVID thing that only Nick was allowed to touch the genie lamp.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it was also funny how they did
he found a way to be like, you have too many hands.
Yeah,
I better rub the lamp for you.
I also thought it was funny how they did the special effects and it was like, oh, this appeared, and then everyone was like, wow, that's crazy.
Wow, as if they didn't switch him out and then say,
don't lie
to me again.
Don't lie to me, Masked Singer. I know how you work. But it
was fun though. I liked it.
Yeah, that was it. I have one more overarching note, but I'm gonna save it for when we get into the performances.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's something that we talked about, and that I think it's gonna just come up naturally. So.
Oh, I know what this is.
We'll get into it.
Okay, yeah. Well, it'll probably come up with our first performance. So.
Sure, could be. Could be. Who was our first performance, Lauren?
Mushroom.
Mushroom sang If I Could Turn Back Time by Cher.
Fun fact, the first song to ever have autotune.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a fun fact, Lauren.
Thank you.
Look at you bringing that in. This is an informational podcast, folks. No opinions here, all facts.
It's basically stuff you should know.
All facts. True. Shout out Stuff You Should Know. That's a really good podcast, actually.
And we're not really competing with them, so we can do that.
Yeah, except we're competing with everyone, Lauren. I'm going to edit that out.
Okay.
I'm going to edit all of your parts out,
Mushroom.
and it's just going to be me talking into the void.
Oh my god. Okay.
That would take infinitely longer than I would want it to.
Anyway, Mushroom.
Yes, If I Could Turn Back Time. What do you think of the performance, Lauren?
I thought it was good, but it could have been better.
Yeah.
I just think, like, we heard kind of his natural voice as opposed to his falsetto a little bit, and I really liked it, and I want to hear more of that. And if it is who it probably is, this person is, like, pretty known for his falsetto.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to hear him do his natural voice a little more.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Jenny made the comment that said Mushroom might be unbeatable.
False.
Absolutely incorrect.
I'm just like... Maybe if the entire season was just Group C.
Well, yeah. If the entire season was Group C. Mushroom
Sun exists.
Mushroom does not crack the top
Seahorse
3
and
for
Serpent
me.
exist.
Yeah, exactly.
No, those 3 are still the top for me. Unless Mushroom, shows us something really great.
And Mushroom could.
But he hasn't yet.
Yeah. Mushroom has not shown us that other level that, like... And once again, his first performance, which I thought was sort of like, oh, whoa, this is something that no one has really done on The Masked Singer before. I still thought it was just... It was good. It was very good. Don't get me wrong. But it just didn't blow me away. In the top 3 in my mind, which is Sun, Serpent, Seahorse,
absolutely.
all 3 of them have had a song that has absolutely blown me away.
Yeah.
And Mushroom has not had that for me yet. Mushroom has had 2 good songs, but...
Well, and if you think about it, we've seen all 3 of those other performers twice. This was Mushroom's second performance.
Correct.
This was Mushroom's time to blow us away.
Yeah. And he did not.
He did not.
Mushroom did not.
Well, I was
blow us
literally,
away.
after seeing all these performances, I was kind of like, I really don't know who's going home. Because I could see...
I knew Mushroom wasn't going home.
I knew Mushroom wasn't going home just because the judges have so much sway in the final vote.
Yeah.
But if it was purely down to audience, I think it could have gone anyway.
Maybe. I still think Mushroom was
Another
probably...
stressful vote this week.
Yeah. I still think Mushroom was probably the best. I still think probably the best performance of the night.
I think Mushroom was still the best.
And let me transition that into my other overarching point in the fact that this is by far the worst group.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were going to talk about something else, but yeah.
No, I know what you're thinking, and we're going to get to that in a second. That's a bit of a spoiler, if it's what... Is that what you're thinking of?
I think so. I was talking more about the conspiracy theory part of it.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get into it. I'm sorry.
So
This is unlistenable.
We're dancing... All of our stuff's unlistenable, Lauren. It doesn't matter. No, we're dancing around a topic because it is a spoiler. Like, we're avoiding talking about who we think it is because we pretty much kind of know at this point because of things that we found, but we'll save that for a second. Anyways, but back to my point, this is by far the worst group. Group C
I really
is by
think
far
they
the
should have
worst.
mixed it up a little better, especially because it seems like they're narrowing down, I don't know about Group B because it's bigger, but at least Groups A and C down to 2 people before they combine the groups.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because in Group A and B, if you narrow it down to 2 people, you're eliminating some really strong people.
Yeah.
And if you narrow this down to 2 people, it's Mushroom and Jellyfish. And like, Mushroom might be great. But he hasn't shown us that yet.
Show it to
and
us,
Jellyfish just seems kind of fine.
Show it to us.
So-
Yeah. Jellyfish cannot compete with any
With our big 3.
With our big 3 for sure.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
yeah, no, for sure. I just wanted to point that out. But granted, and we're gonna talk about this as we get into more performances. Even the worst group of this season is
Still better than last season.
Still better than last season. Because even the person who got out this week, I think would have made it like top 6 of last year.
Yeah.
To be honest. So I just think that goes to show you sort of the talent level
they
that we
had
have.
some huge celebrities in season 3,
Sure.
but I would say only a few people who were really,
they have
really
some big celebrities
great singers.
so far.
I mean, absolutely.
But
I'm just saying that, like, I think they were more looking for celebrity than singing talent in
that's
season
fair.
3.
That's fair. But yeah, do you have anything else to talk about Mushroom's performance?
Yeah. No, not a whole lot with Mushroom's performance.
So, yeah, no. So let's talk about the clues then.
Clues?
So we had a clue package. Each week I find an article that's worse and worse about keeping up with the clues, and I don't understand it. I guess we might just have to start doing it, but that takes away from it watching, and we'll figure it out. So basically, this clue package was a lot of Mean Girl references. There was a burn book, North Spore High School. Visual clues included a deer and the kangaroo costume from last season in the burn book. There was an egg and orange juice along with 3 black beetles. Beetlejuice? Maybe. As Mushroom spoke of having been surrounded by strange food and customs. Santa Claus made an appearance, and Mushroom said he was a nerd and an outcast whose weirdness led him here. Huh.
Also, there was a line that said mushrooms get a bad rap. So I thought maybe something about bad rap.
Sure. The genie clue, which was, the clue with the lamp.
Yeah.
Was a brain, like a Jello brain.
Yeah, well,
presumably.
I was telling Jackson, I was like, I think if they wanted it to really look like a brain, they would have gotten like a plastic brain. You know what I mean? But I feel like this was clearly meant to be like a Jello brain.
Sure. And then going along with that, Mushroom said, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, but it makes for a pretty sweet clue.
Yeah, and a mind is a terrible thing to waste is a line from Get Out.
Yeah. I feel like...
Well, so Jacob said, at least. I didn't look it up, to be honest.
I also feel like that just seems like a popular, saying. I don't know.
Yeah. It seems a little ominous. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
true.
I mean, the fact that it's a Jello brain leads me to think that it could be a reference to something that's more of like a Halloween party movie. You know what I mean? Or like...
Okay, sure.
Well, or just something where it's like, oh, it's... spooky, but it's more of a party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or it's like the idea of eating brains. So maybe like a zombie type thing.
I thought maybe a zombie thing too.
Yeah. But I don't know. So
or just when they eat brains in Umbrella Academy Season 2 in Vanya's flashback.
Sure.
It's a deep cut.
I don't think it's anyone from Umbrella Academy, though.
No, it's not.
But so now we're going to talk about sort of the spoiler thing that we had. So if you don't like these things that
like
we
the
have
Leanne
found,
Rimes thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Dang it.
Okay. The sun thing.
Like
whatever.
the sun thing, then you might want to fast forward a couple minutes. But otherwise, if you're fine with that, if you just want to know what we know, stick around. Okay, so basically, as with Leanne Rimes having a cover of a song, and Tori Kelly having a cover of a song that they sang on YouTube, so does Mushroom.
Yeah.
So what was the first week 1 song again?
A Woman's Work, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This person who we know to be Jordan Fisher had a cover. Jordan Fisher...
Just a little casual backstage cover from when he was in Hamilton.
Correct. Which would make sense for the Hamilton clues, yeah.
But it's also so many Hamilton clues.
Sure. However, so a little background about Jordan Fisher, who we think that Mushroom is. He replaced Anthony Ramos in Hamilton on Broadway. He also took on the lead role of Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen. He's also starred in Netflix films To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You, and Work It. He does a lot of stage stuff, obviously more recently doing TV, things like that. So obviously those Hamilton clues from week 1 would make sense. Also kind of makes sense that they guessed Anthony Ramos.
Yeah.
Could be a clue there. Also, one of the things this week, said he was a nerd and an outcast whose weirdness led him here. I feel like
he was Evan in Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, and that sort of describes that character. But so part of that conspiracy is, how does The Masked Singer have 3 covers that they just missed on the internet?
That's what I'm saying.
People? And if you are fast forwarding, we're not going to mention any more specifics here about
not any more names.
Yes, but we're going to talk about our conspiracy. So it doesn't make sense, because you would think with 3 people having covers of songs that they sang that it has to be intentional. But why would it be intentional?
The only thing we can think of is like, what if they're really just punking us right now? And they got celebrities who can reliably imitate these other people's voices.
See?
It could be a different celebrity. And I think the other 2 sound exactly like them, but this one does not sound exactly like it.
I would agree.
There are a couple of little like swoops in the vocals that sound like Mushroom, but the rest of the song, there are some parts that don't really sound like Mushroom's performance.
I would
I would die.
Masked Singer already one of my
if they did
favorite
that.
shows. It would just be catapulted to new heights if they did that. Because that is so many levels ahead of anyone thinking. Like, that would be wild. I'm afraid it's not.
I especially for the other two, they just sound much like it.
It sounds exactly.
This one, I still have a tiny bit of doubt. Like, this one, I could believe it's someone who watched, that person's cover and was like, I'm going to imitate that.
Yeah.
But the other two, like, especially because the vocals are so insane, it would be very hard for anyone. That's like someone to imitate
else.
That would have to be incredibly talented.
So another thing that I think will be interesting to watch with Mushroom is, so the person who we think it is a very good dancer. And Mushroom's costume, as it stands right now, is a bit restrictive.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe they're gonna take that out, like,
if he's
strip it down a little bit. Sprout a little bit. It'll be interesting to watch.
But then we'll lose the squirrel.
Yeah, that's true. We will miss the squirrel, which is absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
But
unless he's trying to purely go off his singing voice,
which
is
fair, which is
and again,
fine.
I just want more of his natural singing voice because it's so good.
Yes.
I get that his falsetto might be more of what makes him unique, but if he tries to win on falsetto, it will not work.
Yeah, and I would say this week's song was much less falsetto.
Yeah, it had less, but
it was still in that range, though.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah,
but yes, that is Mushroom. Any final thoughts?
Anyway, I would still love it to be Nate Roos.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just the clues don't really match up.
And the voice. Now that we heard his singing voice,
whatever.
However, I will say, because you guessed Nate Roos, I've been listening to Fun's album from 2012.
Very good.
It is a banger. If you haven't heard that album before, you've probably heard the songs Some Nights, We Are Young, and Carry On, because those were the three famous songs from that album. The entire album is great. He has an incredible voice. So
and
listen to
also
that.
his other stuff from The Format is pretty good. Before Fun,
also,
which I was not aware of until I guessed him, and then I listened to some of that.
Their first album is pretty decent too. It's not as good as Some Nights, but it's still pretty good. Anywho, let's move on.
All right, to broccoli.
Chopping broccoli. Okay.
I still think it's Dana Carvey in case you...
Well,
that's not a spoiler.
The gun. Nah, I'm kidding. So, Broccoli sang Hello by Lionel Richie this week. This week. What do you think of Broccoli's performance?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was... it was good to hear someone who's probably like an older comedian not do a song that's totally a joke. You know what I mean? Like, it was still funny because he was like, I'm going to show my sultry side.
Sure.
But like...
And he did.
He sounded good.
He did.
I thought.
I was kind of impressed by his performance.
Yeah.
I think it's
like
definitely...
the bar's kind of low, but I was impressed.
It was because the bar is low that I was impressed, I would say. But like you said, you can tell it's an older comedian, actor, singer, whatever, what have you be. However, it was still good, and it was definitely different, and I think partially that's why they stayed. Is because it was a little bit different than what they showed us last week.
I think his performance, we kind of talked about this, was better than Squiggly Monsters.
Yeah.
But Squiggly Monsters was more fun, so that was why I thought it was a toss-up.
Sure. With the audience, it's hard to tell, especially at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
I also wrote down costumes, because the costumes in the back were weird again.
Oh,
so.
Yeah, they just had morph suits with like a little broccoli head.
Yeah, exactly. Just unhinged. Love it.
I'm pretty sure they had faces on it, like the banana ones.
They definitely had faces,
yeah.
And it was a bit disturbing.
Yeah.
But anywho, so let's get into the clues.
We had some kind of crazy clues.
We did.
This one.
So Broccoli talked about his success story. Visual clues included Food Fellas,
like Goodfellas,
an homage to Goodfellas, Copacabana, the number 900, Big Cheese, a guitar, and the number 37265. There was also an anchor, a ham or Canadian bacon, and pineapple pizza. He spoke of dinner with a legendary friend, and his genie clue was a roulette wheel on the black 26.
Oh, and there was also a clock that said 6 a.m.
Yes. That was on the oven that was heating up the pizza.
Yes.
So judges' guesses were Jason Alexander, Wayne Newton, and Martin Short.
So,
Lauren, you talk.
Yeah, I gotta say one thing. With Jason Alexander, I have seen every episode of Seinfeld, but Jason Alexander also does have a Broadway background, and he is a better singer than that.
Yeah.
I mean, even there's an episode of Seinfeld where he sings Master of the House, and it sounds better, you know?
To jump off of that, Wayne Newton is 6 feet 2 inches tall, so it's impossible that he could be Broccoli.
Fair.
period.
Martin Short is definitely a good guess. We've been throwing that around a lot.
I kind of want it to be Martin Short at this point.
He's been guessed be interesting.
So much.
I just feel like I have a hard time just envisioning Martin Short's head popping out of the broccoli costume. Like, I don't know why. It just isn't sitting right in my head.
Sure.
But yeah, I still think it's Dana Carvey. So Jenny did that whole thing where she said 37265. She figured out what that could spell from a typical, numerical thing like you're dialing a phone. The best word that she came up with was Frank. We tried it too. That was also the best word we came up with aside from drink. And I looked up a connection between Frank and Dana Carvey, and Dana Carvey did play Frank Zappa in a few sketches on SNL.
Could be
so
a
that's
connection.
a thing.
Yeah.
It would be a deep cut, but it is a thing. He also did a sketch called Guitar Humor, which could be the guitar on the wall thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know. He has lots of famous friends, so we could definitely have dinner with a famous friend.
Sure.
But yeah, we're not quite sure. I tried to look up, so the Copacabana, right? I looked up where is the Copacabana. It's 1060th Street. So I looked up, okay, what is 960th Street? And there is one in Brooklyn. It is a Perfect Furniture store.
Sure.
So probably a dead end.
Yeah. I'd say probably.
Yeah, but yeah, so I don't know what the Copacabana thing is, unless maybe Dana Carvey did a joking cover of that, maybe.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure. So, listen to this, Lauren. Okay. I just found this. I was looking up famous Vegas headliners, right?
Okay.
And
yeah, because of the roulette thing.
Yes. So Frank Marino. Frank Marino is not the person who this Frank Marino is not the person who I think it is. Frank Marino is a man who is famous for cross-dressing comedy impressions of like imitating female stars like Celine Dion, Cher, etc. So maybe, but I also looked up Frank Marino, and the first thing that came up was an Italian-Canadian guitarist, leader of the Canadian hard rock band Mahogany Rush. And Italian, because of all like the mobster clues and stuff like that. Canadian, sure. Canadian bacon, guitarist, guitar in the clue. It's absolutely not this Frank Marino.
Yeah, I've never heard of.
Well, he has been compared to Jimi Hendrix as one of the most underrated guitarists of the 70s.
Oh, wow.
So, if it was Frank Marino, maybe. I don't know.
Well, it's just that, like, the fact that you have to go through all those numbers to find the word Frank does make it seem like it could literally be someone named Frank.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably
true.
A tough thing to figure out that they didn't expect Jenny to get right off the bat.
Sure. Yeah, no, totally. So I can't tell how tall this Frank Marino is, because this person is definitely short. And one thing that I will say is, they have been sort of hyping this person up as someone who's a little bit larger, and I don't think that this is someone who's larger.
No, it's definitely it's a padded costume.
Skinny for sure.
Or at least not like, whoever it is does not have like the broccoli pot belly.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I can't see.
I'm sure Dana Carvey is a lanky man, but
well, he's short too though.
He is short, yeah. I mean lanky just because like he's a kind of like very skinny, wears baggy clothes kind of guy.
Sure. Obviously, the other guess is Joe Pesci because of the Goodfellas clues, because of the height. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. I'm still locking in Dana Carvey.
I think Dana Carvey's probably the best guess that I have right now.
I would not be that surprised if it was Martin Short, but Dana Carvey.
Yeah, I would say
really wanted to be Dana Carvey.
I'm gonna go with Dana Carvey. Frank Marino as my second guess.
Solid. You found that all by yourself.
Whatever.
I respect
it's wrong. It's incorrect. This is just me just looking at stuff. The Screen Rant prediction, which is the article that I pulled up, says Paul Anka, and I don't know who that is. So if it is Paul Anka, then
sure.
Good for you, I guess. He's like a Canadian singer or something.
Okay. Maybe he's famous in Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have the Masked Singer in Canada yet, so...
Yeah.
He had to come down here.
Yeah, true.
Anyway.
Anywho.
All right, let's move on to our penultimate performance of the night, Squiggly Monster.
Well, don't we save that to the end usually?
You're right. Never mind.
Spoilers.
Let's move on to what was our last performance of the night, but will not be our last performance of the episode. Jellyfish.
Jellyfish. So, Jellyfish sang Crazy by Patsy Cline. And what did you think of this performance?
I thought it was the best performance of the night.
Wow.
But that was a low bar.
That's strong.
I enjoyed this one more than Mushrooms, to be honest.
I definitely thought it was competing for the best performance of the night at the very least. Some of our housemates that we watched it with did not like it as much, and I was kind of confused by that because I definitely thought it was good.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought this was someone using their talents in a more effective way than I think Mushroom used their talents, which I think was why I like this one more.
Sure. I think that's a good call, Lauren.
However, I don't think Jellyfish has a lot of room to grow beyond her first performance in this.
I think Jellyfish is kind of, yeah.
And I am still excited to see what Mushroom can do.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, let's get into the clues for this one. So, Jellyfish said she's normally competitive, but her nerves got the best of her last week. Visual clues included a Papa Jellyfish with glasses, a projector, USS Big Bird, yoga, a candle, cereal box, a lightsaber, and a clock with 7:20 on it. She said she was normally the best at what she does and that her parents sacrificed careers so she could follow her dreams. She thanked her father. Her genie clue was a tiger. She said you would earn your stripes if you figured out the clue.
Okay.
You know, the more that I hear this, the more I think it's an athlete. And that totally throws off any of our guesses that we had. Well, just the earn your stripes says she's normally competitive. Talking about her parents, like, getting up early for stuff.
I did guess Simone Biles before.
Well, true. I played travel baseball as a youth. And you have to get up early, even for my small level of that.
No, I did competitive cheerleading. And even though we slept in rollers, we still had to get up at like 5 a.m.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, talk a little bit about...
Okay. So some of the judges' guesses, they guessed Lionel Richie's daughter. They guessed Lana Condor. Sorry, I don't know Lionel Richie's daughter's name. Do you know it?
No.
Okay. Yeah, Lionel Richie's daughter, which is funny because there was a Lionel Richie song. And then Halle Bailey, who you might know from the R&B duo Chloe by Halle. Chloe X Halle, I don't know.
Sure.
And also she was semi-recently announced as Ariel in the live-action Disney Little Mermaid movie. I think, I did look into it a little bit. Lana Condor, I think, is my guess.
Okay.
So she was born in Vietnam and was actually adopted by the Condors who were her parents.
Sure.
Which, I mean, that kind of gives me a vibe of, like, that... You know, I mean, I feel like if you choose to adopt a kid, that's definitely... I could see why she would view her parents in the way that she does. She has an adopted brother as well. And I know they did show the little family. It looked like it was a family of 4, potentially a family of 5. So that's a thing too.
Yeah. And
also, she doesn't have... So I did look up because she's a YouTuber. In addition to being To All the... Help me out.
To All the Boys I Loved Before?
Yes, To All the Boys I Loved Before. But she hasn't really ever sung live. She has released a little bit of music on YouTube. Like 2 months ago, she released a song with a lyric video that sounds like it could definitely be Jellyfish. But she also... Since I can't find any live performances of her, and she doesn't seem to have any super developed, you know, albums or even an EP or anything like that, that does make me think that she's someone who's kind of just getting into music. This might be really the first time she's performed. She's sung live.
Yeah.
You know, so that would explain her nerves a little bit. And again, I just think it could sound like her. So that is my guess. Lana Condor, stealing it from the judges. Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. I think that's a solid guess. I'm going to say why I don't think it's either Chloe or Halle Bailey or...
They are too good.
They are far
just
too good.
Too good.
If you look up them singing, they have incredible control over their voice. They
whether
sing
live or on their
well, and they've been
records.
on multiple tours. They've like opened for Beyonce before on tours. Like, I just don't think they would be nervous at all. I don't even think they would talk about their nerves getting the best of them. We also looked up. Did you talk about? I was sorry.
China Anne McClain.
Yes.
I did not talk about China Anne McClain.
So another one of our guesses was potentially China Anne McClain, who we've thought about before for Sun. I think actually was when we first.
Did we really?
Actually, yeah.
Wow.
At least with the clues.
Oh, because the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But China Anne McClain was on the Disney show Ant Farm. She was also in the Disney Descendants movies.
Yeah.
So we thought about her potentially as Jellyfish. However, we also looked up her singing, and she sounds great too.
Yeah. So in some of her Disney stuff when she sings, she sounds like she could maybe be Jellyfish, but that is, again, a little more developed. I found a video of her singing live as like a tribute to Whitney Houston. She was dressed up as Whitney Houston, singing a Whitney Houston song, and she sounded incredible.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why someone would go to the Jellyfish place when they could go to the Whitney Houston place.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Especially on her second performance, I think she would have gone to that by now if she had it.
Yeah,
So,
true.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I need to do more research because I do think it's an athlete now that I look at those clues. Yeah, for sure.
I still don't hate my Simone Biles guess. There are no real clues that lead up to it aside from the whole potentially like the parents getting up super early to go to things kind of deal.
Sure.
But then there was also that kind of martial arts thing too. There was the bow staff.
Yeah,
as
that's
well,
true.
Like smashing the cereal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe this is someone who was on a cereal box.
That's what I was thinking, like a cereal, because that would make sense, or at least the idea of like an athlete on a cereal box. I feel like is a
like a really iconic athlete. Yeah. And I think like they've guessed Gabby Douglas. They guessed that last week.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't know what Gabby Douglas sounds like speaking or singing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could see it being an athlete.
Yeah. No. Totally.
All right. Should we move on to our last person?
Yeah, I guess we should, shouldn't we?
All right. If we get more guesses about Jellyfish, you'll hear it.
Yes, you will. Don't you worry.
All right. So moving on to the person I started talking about, Squiggly Monster.
Yes. So, as you know, if you watched the episode, which I'm sure you did, Squiggly Monster got out this week.
Yay.
Sad. I really liked Squiggly Monster's week 1 performance. This one certainly did not live up to that performance.
Yeah, it was fun.
Well, and see, the thing is, though, this Squiggly Monster was almost like the Rhino of this season. He just didn't go nearly as far because the competition was so much better. I felt like their voices were similar. They both had we're the big, lovable fellas.
Yeah.
He just didn't get as much because there was so much more talent.
Yep.
But, anywho, let's talk about their, I guess, what did they sing? They sang...
Oh, I'm like so close to being able to hear it again in my head. I just don't remember.
I accidentally clicked
it's
away
so
to
recognizable.
It's I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones.
I can't get no. Okay, so Squiggly Monster. Yeah, I thought that there was a risk that Broccoli could go home this week just because Squiggly Monsters was fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Should we talk about clues?
I guess we can.
All right. So we talked about canvassing, a lot of politics stuff.
There were a lot of politics clues.
He said an inconvenient truth, which made, people think Al Gore. He was in a cornfield that exploded into popcorn.
Yeah.
He was with someone, like, next to someone in a Groucho Marx mask, and then an emperor penguin walked behind them. There were a bunch of cannoli. Yeah, and then his genie lamp clue was a teddy bear, and he said something about bearing it all.
Yeah. So, this was Bob Saget.
Yeah.
Squiggly Monster turned out to be Bob Saget, classic comedian, actor on the show Full House, America's Funniest Videos host. Comedian Bob Saget. The clues matched up. I was also thinking tall comedian. I just went with a different one.
Yeah.
Who I knew much less about. And Bob Saget actually a much bigger name than Pete Holmes. So
yeah.
And Bob Saget's a big get. Like he's a famous man.
He's a big get.
Yeah.
For sure. I think it's funny how none of the judges mentioned Bob Saget, and then at the end, every single one of them was like, I knew it was Bob Saget the whole time.
Yeah. I do wonder if they had guessed it before and
they cut it because
producers were like, y'all gotta stop.
Well, especially too, if he had turned out to be kind of a rhino kind of person, if he would have made it farther, I could see them not wanting to say.
Oh, for sure.
In the very first episode.
Yeah, but obviously he did not, which is a bit unfortunate because I definitely liked Squiggly Monster, as we know is Bob Saget.
I also liked that he got Nick a hat.
He did get Nick a hat. That was kind of cute.
That was nice.
Kind of cute. One fun thing about just Bob Saget as a man, I grew up knowing him as one of the dads on Full House, right? Mm-hmm. But Bob Saget, known as one of the raunchiest comedians in the past 50 years or so, which is just such a departure from what I know him as in my mind.
Seems weird to see that face saying that stuff.
Well, yeah, and I think when I got older, I looked up like something, I don't know why I looked up Bob Saget, but I saw like some of his comedy stuff and I was like, oh, that's interesting, and I started listening to it and I was like,
and then you were scarred for life.
Yeah, it is horrendous. He is a raunchy man, and you look at that face and you're like, that doesn't match up. I don't think that should make sense. These two things should not correlate in the universe. However,
on like a family show, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing. Full House, America's Funniest Videos, both super family friendly. Like those are the two shows you think of like a whole family sitting down in front of the TV and watching.
Yeah.
And yet you have Bob Saget over here.
It just makes me wonder, like, why did he get cast in Full House and stuff? If people looked at his stand-up and were like, you know who would be a good wholesome dad? Bob Saget.
I wonder what the reaction was like at the time. I mean, I don't know when he started doing like a bunch of his comedy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was
I assumed before
after.
Full House, but yeah, it could have been after. I don't really know much about Bob Saget, to be honest.
Yeah, but we know he was on The Masked Singer.
From that, he's famous, so.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's Squiggly Monster.
And he is Squiggly Monster.
Anyway. Yeah. What else? I think those are really all of our big things.
Yeah, I think so too.
For this week.
Yeah.
So next week we are seeing Group A again for the finals, which is crazy because they have to get that group down to 2 people.
Which is wild.
So, yeah. So it's, let me see, who's all left in Group A? There's Sun, Snow
Owls, and Popcorn.
That's it.
Yeah.
I really wonder, I hope they do like a Smackdown kind of thing again or something, because I feel like only having 3 people perform, like,
it's gonna be hard.
It works for the finale, but it seems weird to do it this early.
Who do you think is gonna be getting the boot?
Snow Owls.
Really?
Unless they really do something crazy. I just think Popcorn is much better than Snow Owls, and there's no way Sun's getting out.
I think Snow Owls are gonna survive on the novelty. I think Popcorn's out. I really do.
Well, I have no faith in humanity, so
I mean that's
maybe
fair.
I feel the same.
I don't know. Popcorn,
if they break out of the egg, they'll move on. If they don't, they're gone.
Relying so much on the egg, which we have hoped that they would peck out of by now, but I don't know. It'll be good. It'll be great to hear Sun sing again.
Yeah, I just don't think that there's enough variety in what Snow Owls can do unless they break out of the egg.
I think that's a good point.
Because all they've really done so far is like, oh, pretty harmony duets.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I hope it's Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood.
That would be cool.
That would be cool, because I have not been right on too many of my guesses so far this year. So
I'm clinging to Dana Carvey.
It would be nice to win one. But you don't listen to us so that we win. You listen to us because we're ridiculous. And thank you for doing so. Thank you for sticking around.
Thank you for making it this far.
For another full episode. In the middle there, we just
rambled.
I got totally lost in looking up potential athletes for jellyfish. So I'm going to have to put something together so it's not totally worthless. But that was our episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, like us on all of our socials at whoisthatpod on Instagram and Twitter. Email us at
whoisthatpod@gmail.com.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or just want to say hey, give us an iTunes review, please. We would love you forever.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. All right. Love you guys.
Love you. On With That,
the Masked Singer podcast.